Hi, I'm Janet Messenger Clark.
And I'm Kerry Clark.
Our memories of Jerry, in my case, begins back when we were 5 years old. Yeah, 5 years old. That was a long time ago. We met in Blackwell, Oklahoma at the Houston Elementary School, where when I first met Jerry, he was that skinny, redheaded, fun-loving, funny, and so kind of a guy. Something that you carried through your whole life, and everybody sees that and appreciates that, Jerry. Thank you for being that funny guy, our class clown, in such a positive way. We appreciate you. That carried through. You did that all the way through middle school there in Blackwell. And then one day, when you turned 14, you moved away. 14, and you moved away a long ways away to the tune of...
Well, 40 miles. And back in those days, without internet and cell phones, 40 miles was practically halfway around the world. That's when he moved to my hometown of Perry, Oklahoma, where he and I went through high school together. We enjoyed basketball, church youth events, and shared a lot of talks then and still do about classic cars, since we are both gearheads and car nuts. And as fun as all those memories were, our favorite memory with Jerry was the time after a basketball game. Jerry took me over to meet some of his Blackwell friends, and one of them was a girl named Janet, and she and I both actually inquired if the other was interested, and we were. So Jerry introduced us, and we dated throughout high school, and went to each other's proms. And then off to college we went.
We did, yep. A few months there in college, and then as life would have it, in most relationships, we went our separate ways. And it was just for a few years.
Yeah, well, a few, 22 few.
But who's counting, right?
But we did reconnect, and so the story continued, and we decided, whenever I was 40 and Jerry was 40 and Janet was almost 40, that we would get married in Chicago. And so we had a Chicago wedding that was assisted greatly by Jerry's lovely wife Sarah and Catherine, who tried to keep us together in college. And so here we are 20 years after that, when I'm 60. Jerry, you're now 60.
I'm still almost 60.
So those were that was a great memory, a wonderful trip for us, and here we are 20 years later. So we just wanted to thank you for these great 20 years.
That's right, and thank you. It's actually more than 20 since we were 14 when you introduced us. So thank you, Jerry, for being the matchmaker. Who knew you'd have that under your belt as well? So we appreciate you there.
So we just wanted to take this little time to tell this story and to wish you a very, very happy 60th birthday.
That's right. Happy birthday, Jerry. We love you, brother. And one thing, from your...
Really, your favorite triplet, other than, the three that you have of your own.
And probably your favorite maroon. We love you, brother. Happy 60th birthday.
Happy birthday.
Bye-bye.
Do you think that wedding story was believable?
Yeah. I think we got it down this time.
Jerry and I have done a lot of things together. We rode our bikes together to school every day when he would wait for me. And we rode our horses together all over when he would cinch the saddle tight enough that I didn't fall off my horse. We rode to high school together in his 57 Chevy, where he threatened my life every single morning if I got donuts in the tuck and roll interior. He would kill me. But this is supposed to be funny. So here's the funny story. When I was a little girl, you can only imagine how Jerry would think it would be funny to play tricks on me. And he did. And one in particular was when he and his best friend Jack Gleason decided that they would put ketchup packets under the toilet seat. That's right. So they stuffed all the little ketchup packets underneath the toilet seats, and they waited until I had to go to the bathroom. And when I went, I can only imagine how hilarious they thought it was to wait right outside the door and wait for me to shriek after I sat down on the toilet seat and the ketchup packets exploded all over my legs. So there you go. Hilarious. Jerry was a great big brother. He was a turd, but he was really a great big brother. And he's still a great big brother. So happy 60th birthday, Jerry. I love you.
I'm Doug DiCarlo, and I am Jerry's brother-in-law, so I've known him for quite a while. My first meetings with Jerry, I know he was thinking, who is this guy? Why isn't she dating one of my fraternity brothers? This guy went to OU. He's not anything I want from my sister. So I had to go through some trials with him. The first one was at our first Thanksgiving, whenever I was with the family. And it was a small table with about 100 people around it. And a lot of the dishes were still covered by cellophane. And I'll never forget Jerry taking the cellophane off of a tray of meat and intentionally dragging it across my face just to see what I would do. And I just looked at him like, why in the world did you do that? And he was just laughing. And I thought, this isn't going to be great. So from that point on, it's always good whenever something like that happens to Jerry. So my favorite Jerry story is whenever we all went to a Mexican restaurant and Sarah ordered some incredibly hot food. I'm not sure exactly what it was, but the spice was ridiculously hot. Jerry ate it anyway, being a good husband, and he was sweating profusely. And he was trying very hard to not let the food touch his lips as he put it in his mouth. It is an image I will never forget, and we laugh about it to this day. If you want to hear other stories, just find me. I'll tell you any of a number. But happy birthday, Jerry. Happy 60th, and I still owe you.
I remember so many things and think of you often and your family often. And I remember going down the Illinois River with the church youth group, and your dad and I rode in a boat together. And remember you kids were throwing water on me, and all of a sudden I stood up to get back at you and fell in the water, which was scary for me because I didn't know how to swim. I remember some good long talks when your mom was sick, and so we went through some hard times, went through some fun times and good times, but y'all are just like my kids, and you're on my prayer list with my kids every day. When I list my kids, I list you and Vernona and your families, and along with others that call me Mama G. And I just want you to know how special you are and how proud your mom and dad would have been of you. And I just remember the good times and glad God made you a part of my life. Love you so much, and have a great, great birthday with your friends and family.
I met Jerry Dow, I think, in 1978, when he was a skinny kid from Blackwell before he became a skinny kid from Perry. When did you meet him?
I met him when you and I started dating in 1984 at Oklahoma State.
Gosh, that's forever ago. And you know, so that's 40 plus years. I don't know, it's been pretty uneventful. But you know, there is one story that we always tell about Jerry Dow. Do you want to tell that one?
Yeah.
So, forever ago, when the world was young and we were beautiful, we had just gotten out of Oklahoma State, the three of us, and we were living in Oklahoma City. Heidi and I were married, and Heidi...
And Jerry wasn't living here, he was here to visit.
Oh, is that when he had... That was after that position, that customer care position with the Marriott Corporation that he got? Yeah, okay. Yes. So anyway, so back to the story. Heidi gets an invitation from a friend to attend a wedding. And the groom had gone to Oklahoma State and was a fraternity member from Sigma Nu. And Sigma Nu was the it fraternity at Oklahoma State. Jerry and I were in a fraternity as well, but it wasn't the it fraternity. And frankly, Jerry and I just weren't Sigma Nu material.
No, you really weren't.
So I don't know how it happened. My memory is suddenly the three of us are at the church door going in.
Jerry came to visit us, and we said we have a wedding to go to. It would be Mark Pledger's and Liz.
Yeah.
And he said, well, I want to go because the Cool Coyotes were invited, me not being one of those Cool Coyotes.
Right.
But the Cool Coyotes and, of course, Sigma News were there. So I said, well, it's kind of rude, but Jerry, you can join us.
So I remember going into the church, the three of us, and then right when we got in the door, I looked to that space where Jerry Dow had been, and it had turned to vapor. He was gone. And suddenly he was with all the cool kids, and he dropped the two of us like hot rocks. So that's our story. So Jerry, happy birthday. We love you.
Happy birthday.
And I was going to say one more thing. Oh, you know, Jerry, the last 60 years you've done very well. You have a wonderful family. You have a lovely, beautiful wife that's followed you around the planet. You know, you make a living. You've done a pretty good job. I mean, it's not Sigma Nu, but you've done a pretty good job. So Heidi, before we go, do you have anything you'd like to add?
Well, Don Greiner was in People magazine.
That's right. Oh, and Jerry, did you hear he got Blue Key? Love you.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
He said the check's in the mail. Wait, something's not right here. What? He's in my place. And you're in my place. Hey, you're in my place. Three-man weave. Much better, much better. Feels right. Hi, I'm Carrie, Jerry's favorite triplet friend. And I'm Chris, and I am Jerry's favorite triplet friend.
And I'm Charles, definitely Jerry's favorite triplet friend.
We met Jerry in 1978 as young skinny lads when he moved from Blackwell, Oklahoma to our hometown of Perry, and got to have the instant upgrade at that point. There were lots of times that we had good...
You're an idiot.
You must be 60. We have lots of fun memories with Jerry. One of them that I remember is when we went to his house and he and his dad had a 1963 Oldsmobile behind the house that they were not using, and being the shade tree mechanics that we were, we offered to get it running for him and Vernon, and oddly enough his dad agreed, so we got it running and dug it out, and Vernon let us have it, and I'm not sure if that was a blessing or a curse because you know, it drank a lot of gasoline and used almost as much oil. But, you know, Jerry, just like his dad, is always Mr. Gracious, and they were gracious then to let us borrow that car.
And how many times did we run out of gas?
More than we care to admit.
Sometimes after dark when it was really inconvenient to have people come get us. But they did.
Nearly every week.
About a weekly occurrence. It should have come with an oil derrick.
Or a gas tanker.
One of the things that I remember that was so fun, we'll never forget, is when Jerry invited me to go to Tulsa. So Jerry's mom was taking treatments. And we went and spent the weekend in Tulsa at this big pink hotel. But the most fun thing was we went to the lake auctions and we saw all sorts of hot rods that were around our time, but we also saw these old cars, Auburns, Cords, and Duesenbergs, and we watched some cars sell for, at the time, hundreds of thousands of dollars. And that just blew my mind. I can remember those cool cars and just couldn't believe how much people were paying for them, and I'll never forget the lake auction.
One of the things I remember is when we would hang out at their house, we would get to watch HBO. So, you know, in the late 70s, cable television wasn't very common, and they had it, and they had the HBO channel. And so one of the things we watched on there was a comedian and a singer named Bette Midler. I will not tell you the joke that she told on that show because it's not for mixed company. But I remember hanging out there and doing all kinds of fun things, We also went to the youth group with them, and that was cool because then we also went to some of their road trips into Edmond and
Ponca City. I
and
think we made a long one to Texas.
somewhere in Texas.
Yep.
So those are just good, normal, everyday events that we thoroughly enjoyed and helped shape us to the guys that we are now.
So we just thought we'd take a minute here, Jerry, to bring back some memories and tell you how much we've enjoyed your friendship over these years, and we appreciate you, and we love you, and we hope you have a happy birthday.
Happy birthday, love you.
And yeah, enjoy being 60 like the rest of us, and we definitely have loved you for a long time. So have a great birthday. Thanks, Sarah, for putting this all together for him and letting us relive some of those memories.
Hi, I'm Bob Moeller, and honestly, I don't remember the exact moment Jerry and I became friends. It might have been on the Ocala ad staff, or while competing for national AAF glory, or possibly as self-anointed recruiters for the OSU Ad Club. Most likely, it was in the journalism building, goofing off, working on so-called special projects. I'm not sure, especially since my 60th has come and gone, and memories seem to fade faster these days. We were thick as thieves our senior year, but eventually university life ended, and we were forced out into the world. Jerry crashed at my apartment for a brief time in OKC, as we both tried to establish ourselves as professional admin, our first foray into being fully independent adults. It's a miracle we survived. Time flew, he went his way, I went mine. Jerry found his soulmate, my soulmate Nicole found me. We both knew it was time to commit. Then this happened. Instant responsibility, new accountability for Jerry, and for 3 new lives. I tried to help where I could. Not sure if it was divine intervention or Sarah's influence, but someone knew in order to keep this friendship going, we needed to link our families even closer through the tradition of good old-fashioned God parenting. Oh, and God help us. Even though I can't remember the exact day Jerry and I met, or the moment we became friends, I do know it is an easy friendship, blessed with the ability to conquer time, allowing us both to pick up right where we left off, no matter how much time has passed. And I pray it always stays that way. Memories of our friendship, like many traditions passed down over time, are a little fuzzy on key details. Some good, some not so much. But Jerry, the impact of your friendship endures, and in the most positive ways. Happy birthday, my friend. May you celebrate many more to come.
Since 1983 or 1984. I worked at an ad agency back then, and Ditch Witch in Perry was my account. Jerry was studying advertising at Oklahoma State University and worked summers at Ditch Witch as a marketing intern. And that's when Jerry and I first met and founded our Mutual Admiration Society. Since I was already in the agency business, I was sort of a mentor to Jerry. But like they say in Star Wars, it didn't take long for the student to become the master. Jerry, the things you've taught me as you grew and prospered in your career far eclipsed any influence I might have had on you in those early years, and for that I am truly grateful. There are way more stories than I can possibly tell in 200 words. We've had lots of fun, lots of mischief, lots of laughs. And truthfully, I'm so glad we both have our lovely wives to keep us in check, because historically, I think when it's just you and me, we can have some really dumb and often dangerous ideas. I think about you coming up to see me when I lived in Madison, Wisconsin, Scott Smith's bachelor party on the farm in Noble County, general stupidity in downtown Chicago, cool old cars, that Ditch Witch photo shoot in Fairfax, the infamous sidekick kickoff. But one story that really stands out is back when you were a Ditch Witch intern and you called me at the agency in a panic that you were going to get fired. You were like, my career's over before it started. Jeff Griffin talked you into supergluing Treva's desk drawer shut over lunch one day, and she threw a fit. My advice was to calm down, keep a low profile, spend the next couple of days with Roy Baker down in the Ditch Witch basement photo studio, and basically deny. It blew over quickly, but you were definitely sweating bullets there for a couple of days. Jerry, you have been such a positive influence in my life, both personally and professionally, and I truly love you like a brother. And sidebar, I'm so sad and disappointed Jacqueline and I didn't get to come see you and Sarah in Florida this past spring. Thank you, COVID. It truly has been a joy to see our two families grow and go through life these past 40 plus years. And I just want to thank you for being such a good friend. Happy 60th birthday, Jerry. I wish you many, many more. So here's to you.
Jerry and I met at student orientation at Northwestern in August of 1988. We were strangers in a strange land for sure, but we were from the same neck of the woods and we hit it off right away. Jerry and I shared a love for many things, particularly all things Oklahoma. I quickly realized that Jerry was a very, very creative guy. His resume had a picture on it, not of himself, a headshot of ad man Darren Stevens from Bewitched. Jerry was bright and affable and quickly established himself as the class favorite for all our professors. We did feel a little bit like a fish out of water in Chicago. The city was great to us both, but it was eye-opening for sure for two young Okies. One day in particular comes to mind. Shortly after we moved into our Lakeview neighborhood apartment on Burling Street in August, in the summer of 1989. On one of the first days in the neighborhood, we were walking around, enjoying the weather and exploring the neighborhood, and we walked upon a church, and the doors were wide open to the rec center, and we heard fiddle music coming from inside. We had to investigate, so we walked in and witnessed something that was a real first for both of us. It was an all-male square dancing troupe. Half of these toe-tapping fellas were in traditional cowboy attire. Being from God's country, we were well familiar with Western wear, but we had never seen chaps worn quite that tight. The other half of the group was in traditional cowgirl attire. And these boys were having a big time. We knew we weren't in Stillwater anymore. After all, until then, the most we knew about this sort of alternative lifestyle was Billy Crystal from Soap. It struck us as hilarious and really quite charming. Jerry is a talented photographer, and I know there are still some black and white pictures floating around memorializing that crazy day. A few years went by. Sarah came along, and I lost my roommate for a better deal. Better deal for sure. They married, and before long, Sarah was on bed rest with the triplets. During this time, I had the pleasure of knowing Vernon and Vernona as well when they would visit. Sarah and Jerry moved to Tulsa some years later when the boys were in junior high school, It was a great treat for me to know the boys and have Sarah and Jerry around for a few years. I've missed having them around ever since. You can't make new old friends, and I'll never have one like Jerry. Cheers, and happy birthday to my man, Jerry Dow. I love you tons.
I met Jerry for the first time in 1983. We were both advertising students in the School of Journalism at Oklahoma State University. I knew Jerry definitely had a creative edge to him. He was the first person wearing the first pair of Vans tennis shoes I'd ever seen, as well as his Chuck Taylor high tops with no socks, in shorts. Yes, it's all true. Jerry also had not a regular backpack like the rest of us did that you slung over your shoulder, but he had a pack that you would sling over your neck and drape down. And I think it was from an Army surplus store at that. Again, I knew Jerry was a creative person and understood exactly why he was in the advertising program at Oklahoma State. But soon, Jerry and I got to know each other, found out we were both farm and ranch kids. Him from Perry, of course, me from Durant, and that we had fathers that were basically replicas of each other in all ways, and we loved them, but we also got a good chuckle out of exchanging stories about them and how they would do anything to fix whatever it was instead of buying something new, for example. My favorite story about Jerry actually zooms ahead past when Jerry, which I was very happy about, came to Northwestern a couple of years after I did, came to Leo Burnett a few years after I did, and met Sarah. They were dating before they were married and before the boys came along, of course. Jerry and I took a trip back to Oklahoma State to speak to Advertising Club, which we'd both been members. And it was a very classic, severe ice storm kind of situation night in late October. And after we spoke to Ad Club, they wanted to take us to Eskimo Joe's to buy us drinks. We happily obliged, of course. And after a few hours, as Joe's was closing, we decided it would be time to make it back to our hotel, which was on the campus of Oklahoma State University. Jerry always knew where there were places to see. He knew how to get up in the tower of the student union. How he knows these things, I have no clue, but he does. And Jerry's also up for doing, just enough to not get in trouble, but to have a little mischief nonetheless. So Jerry directed me toward another place in the student union where he knew how to look out over the journalism school in this big parking lot and delivery dock. And Jerry said, "Hey, here, look at this. We've got Frisbees." I was like, "What do you mean?" He grabs a silver platter from the student union restaurant supply, of course, and their banquet settings, and he just flings it out in the parking lot. Well, they had no platters left for the next day, I can say that. And no, we were not courteous enough to go pick them up. But it was just a great example of the mischief you could find with Jerry, and always a laugh. Jerry, first off, happy birthday, buddy. Welcome to the club of 60. Here's to more. I can't believe how our lives have paralleled in so many ways, professionally, including cable and telecom careers. But I'm so proud of you. I'm proud of the family that you have. I admire you for being such a great family man. You're so lucky to have Sarah, of course, and your boys are fantastic young men. I love you very much, and I hope to celebrate with you soon in person in St. Louis.
Jerry, you set the bar high with what it means to be a father and a husband. With triplets, best I could do was twins. You've had a whole second career connecting people to high quality fiber. And at our age, God knows, everyone needs more fiber. We think of you often, every week in fact, because of the one thing that you can't do. Thanks for over 30 years of friendship, Jerry. Happy birthday.
I'm Tom Collinger, and I'm happy to call myself a friend of Jerry Dow to be part of this birthday celebration. I left Leo Burnett, where I met Jerry, and joined Northwestern and was on faculty for almost 25 years before I retired. And of course, I taught all the things in marketing and communications you'd guess, but notably and anchored in everything, of course, is the brand. And so I'm going to leverage that experience I had teaching it and working in and around it by branding Mr. Dow. It is a one-word term that I think really captures him. You ready? Surprise. Jerry Dow is a surprise. He comes to Leo Burnett as an absolute bona fide Okie. Well, back in those days, if you didn't speak the King's English, you practically couldn't get arrested at the Leo Burnett Company, but he made it. And he wasn't just an Okie, he was a proud noodler. If you don't know what a noodler is, you better ask him. He was a proud Northwestern Wildcat, which I'm very happy to say we shared in common. He became a real true Burnetter, but surprise, who knew he'd be a ladies' man? Yep, he bagged, from what I'm told, the most desirable woman that was in that age group at the time. You know, my friend Russell Wolf tells me that, yep, everybody was after Sarah, but nope, Jerry got her. Who knew that? And then he went on to pioneer making surprise moves like leaving Burnett. Who leaves Burnett? Jerry did. And he established himself at Pella and at United. He goes to Tulsa, moves to St. Louis. Surprise. Who moves to St. Louis? Who moves to Tulsa? Jerry did. And built an even more extraordinary career. He's a biker. He's a dad. He's a great friend. And he has never lost his roots as a surprise. Jerry, happy birthday. Surprise.
I would like to show you my favorite picture of Jerry. I always just feel so tender and fond when I see this picture, and I can't help thinking of just how good he looks in this photo. It's kind of hard to also not notice how fabulous his wife Sarah looks in this photo. Thought we should share that. But I have known Jerry since long before he looked like that. When I first met Jerry, he looked like this. But there was a brief period in history where I was Jerry's boss. We worked together on, I think it was Kraft Viscous. Jerry was wonderful, bright, brilliant, and I worked him like a dog. So, although he looked like this when I first met him, by the end of the probably 6 months that we worked together, he looked like this. Big change. Hard work will really take it out of you. There are lots and lots of stories about Jerry throughout the years, but I prefer to use my little 2 seconds of greatness here to share from the heart. One of the things that I have always loved about you, Jerry, is that you have a soft and tender heart. You are always sort of cheering me on from the sidelines. I can't think of how many different Facebook notes I've gotten from you over the years that are just always so positive and sparkling and caring and kind. And I think that's because you are a deeply, deeply lovely person. And I feel so lucky to be your friend. And I hope to get to see you again soon. Happy birthday.
Hi, I'm Monica Mills, and I am Jerry's sister-in-law, and I would like to tell you the story of the Prince and the Pea, which all began when Jerry appeared at Leo Burnett, and Sarah thought he was very appealing, so she quickly just asked him out before anyone else had a chance to accompany dance. Well, Jerry was no pea brain. He thought that Sarah was a peach, and he was strutting around like a peacock. So they went to the dance, they had a good time. Shortly after that, Jerry decided to visit the Vogel family for Christmas. Now, Jerry did not have many root peas. His Honda Civic was peeling, So he borrowed a car from Todd Townsend because he was a little embarrassed, not having any idea what the Vogel fleet looked like. Well, at dinner, the conversation was circling around the table, and Mom was passing the peas and all the other food to Jerry, but specifically the peas because he had not taken any. So Jerry returned to Chicago. He and Sarah dated repeatedly. You might say they were like peas and carrots, 2 peas in a pod. So they did get married, and on that day, the bells at the church were pealing with joy. And when Jerry stood up to make a toast at the reception, he informed us that had he known how important it was on his first visit, he would most certainly have taken a pea. So, Jerry, we are so happy you are part of this big, crazy Vogel family. Happy birthday. We love you.
I remember the very first time that we were introduced to Jerry Dow by Sarah Vogel Dow. Julie and I were visiting Chicago many years ago, and Julie, Sarah, and I were out to dinner, and it's almost as if you arranged a meet cute because you swung by the table. We were introduced, you said something funny, came out a little sarcastic, so Julie and I were like, who is this guy? It was shortly thereafter we got to spend more time with you, and as soon as I found out that one of your favorite snacks was cottage cheese with grape jelly, I was sold. You have, over the years, become one of the funniest people I know and are in my top 5.
Okay, well, that's a real memory there. So, Jerry, you were always a very funny person to us. Not looking, but acting. But you became a great friend when you married Sarah, and even a better friend when you helped out our maybe future son-in-law.
Better be future son-in-law.
Who lives in Oklahoma, when his mother had a terrible accident and he was not going to make the end of his
start of his police academy
situation, and he could have gotten bumped out. Now you pulled strings like you do many times. You have all these people that you know, and you went to the top of the food chain of the state troopers in Oklahoma and got him a reprieve. And last year he was named the State Trooper of the Year in Oklahoma. So if you hadn't have done that, he might not have the career he does now. And I thought it was a great thing that you did, because you didn't even know him, but you just knew he was from Oklahoma, and that was good enough for you. So anyway, thanks a lot, and happy birthday.
Happy 60th, Jer. I'll be there soon. We hope you have a wonderful weekend. Sorry we can't be there to hang out with you in St. Louis, but we hope we sent this in time to make the video collection, and we will see you soon. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Happy 60th birthday, Jerry. Hey, I was thinking the other day about the first time that Scott and I met you. We came to Chicago, and prior to our arrival, I was kind of feeling like the little country mouse going to the big city to meet my cousin, the city mouse, and her new city slicker boyfriend. And once we got there, and we met you, then I found out that you're from Perry, Oklahoma, and I'm from Perry, Iowa, and that it's much smaller than Perry, Iowa. So you weren't the big city slicker after all. We also both have July birthdays and graduated in the same year, so that means we're both turning 60 about the same time. We had a great time there in Chicago. We went to a White Sox game, and the other funny thing I remember about that trip in particular was when we were arriving, we must have called Sarah, and she was going to go down and look for a parking spot. Well, it ended up that she was standing in a parking spot. That was the first time I'd ever heard of someone physically standing in a spot to save it.
And I'm affectionately known or referred to by Jerry as Lizard. So hello, Jerry, from your friend Lizard. So my story about Jerry dates back to our Leo Burnett days. Jerry worked on the Maytag business at one point, and I remember him being very proud of his knowledge about washing machines. However, that knowledge seemed to fail him during a memorable ski trip that Jerry, Sarah, myself, and several others took to Crested Butte. And his roommate, Robert, had graciously offered his parents' ski condo for us to stay in during the trip. It was a beautiful place, and we had an amazing time skiing. And on our final day, we were cleaning up and doing laundry. And somehow, our Maytag man, Jerry, didn't quite get the washer settings straight. And after we left, headed to the airport, the washer proceeded to overflow, flood the condo, and destroy the carpet. And, you know, in retrospect, I wonder if that was Jerry's strategy to ensure that all future laundry would be Sarah's responsibility. I don't know.
My name is Todd Martin, and I have been Jerry's friend for at least 30 years. He and my wife Chris and Sarah were friends at Leo Burnett, and we went on a first date, Chris and I did, with Jerry and Sarah. So I've known Jerry as long as I've been married, and it's been an honor, truly an honor, to have this person be my friend. And it's just been a wonderful journey together. I will share one story about Jerry. So Jerry and I always wanted to ride our motorcycles across the country, and we did accomplish that a couple years ago. But one story that's really kind of funny is Jerry and I pulled into kind of an old hotel in Albuquerque, New Mexico. We were pooped. I think we had driven close to 300 or 400 miles that day, and we were zonked. We got into our street clothes. We went to a bar with an Uber, and Jerry sat at the bar. Jerry had like a little eye that was a little bloody, and he looked really, really tired. So he sat at the bar when all of a sudden I got a call from my wife, who was in Vietnam at the time. And Chris and I were talking for a bit, and when I came back in, Jerry said, "Can you believe these guys won't serve us?" I said, "What do you mean they won't serve us?" He said, "They won't serve us any alcohol." So the bartender comes up, and I said, "You know, what's going on?" He said, "Well, your friend's clearly drunk." And I said, "No, he's not. We just got back from a long motorcycle trip, and we're exhausted." And he said, let's get him a drink, and I'd like one too." And then he refused to give me a drink and said, "I'm drunk too." So Jerry and I look at Jerry and I said, "Do you want to make this a big deal, or should we just leave?" And he said, "Let's get out of here. This place isn't deserving of us." So anyway, so I told my wife the next day, "Well, what did you guys order?" And I said, "Well, I think Jerry ordered a Manhattan and I ordered a Moscow Mule." And Chris said, "Oh, well, that explains it. They thought you two guys were gay." So anyway, we got kicked out of our bar together. First time that I've ever gotten kicked out of a bar. First time Jerry's ever gotten kicked out of a bar. So anyway, I don't think it was what we were wearing, but maybe it was Jerry's eye. So anyway, that's my funny story with Jerry. Jerry's been a dear friend. We have lots of adventures left in life together, and I wish him the most wonderful and joyous of 60th birthdays. Love you, Jerry. Take care.
So Jerry proved himself to be a prankster over the years, and he got great glee when he pranked me on my honeymoon. But he had to know that payback was going to come. In fact, I think he did know, and he did anticipate. So lo and behold, the wondrous day of Jerry and Sarah's wedding comes about, and I'm definitely thinking we've got to do something to him. And I discover at the reception that the word has gotten out amongst Jerry and Sarah's friends that you got to watch out for Duke, because he's going to be up to something and he's going to try something. And I could tell something was up because everybody kept saying, "Oh, you're not going to ruin Sarah's big day," or "You're never going to get Jerry," or people would kind of snicker. So it just motivated me even more to do something. So lo and behold, John Sheehy and I decided we were going to try to figure out how to get their getaway car. And we thought we actually had it figured out. There was this rental car, and there were kind of a few kind of weird looks at us when we kind of asked people whose car it was. So we figured that was the car. So I took my rental car and John took his rental car, and we backed it up and parked it front and back right up against bumper to bumper in the car, thinking we had it trapped in, only to later discover we actually picked somebody else's car and it wasn't Jerry's car at all. So anyway, the reception's going on and John and I go outside, and lo and behold, here comes a Honda Accord, a maroon Honda Accord. It's Jerry and Sarah's car. And Todd Townsend gets out. The car is filled with balloons in the back, and there's, confetti and stuff around it. And he parks it in front of the reception hall, sees us sitting there, has a little smirk on his face, locks the door, walks in, and he's like, "Can't really do anything, boys, can you?" And he walks into the reception hall. So John and I look at each other, and John goes, "Shoot, we've been had." Except I said, "Yeah, but Townie just made a major mistake. You have to hold the handle up on a Honda Accord when you press the lock button down at the door." And I don't think he did. And sure enough, the door was unlocked. So John quickly popped the hood, and we pulled the distributor cap off the car, and we stuck it in his pocket. And then we just went back into reception and had a good time. So Jerry and Sarah proceed to leave. They go out in the car. People are throwing rice. "Congratulations. Oh, it's so great. Isn't it a great time?" And we just decide to wait, and we deliberately stand in front of the car, and we see Jerry and Sarah get in, and Jerry goes to start the car, and nothing happens. And through the windshield, you can see him say, and we knew he had. And John pulled out the distributor cap, dangled in front of him, we put it back in the car. But I still remember the look on Jerry's face when he instantly knew payback had just happened.
I could say so many things. I have so many Jerry Dow stories, so many memories. It was kind of hard to figure out what was the thing I wanted to say to you today. But when I was at 252 Sunset, it just felt like the perfect place for me to do my video, because a lot of firsts happened here, and this was really such an important part of our lives when we moved from Leo Burnett out to the suburbs. We were two dinks just loving life, moving to the western burbs, and we spent a lot of time remodeling this house, buying furniture. I remember that you made a comment that we spent more money on a rug than you had ever spent on a vehicle, which, oops, cicada, just showed me that you didn't buy very good cars. Anyway, we had our first Thanksgiving here with my family, where we discovered that, yes, I was pregnant with triplets. And man, that was a really scary time, very scary for us, because our whole identity, our sense of self, we were newlyweds, and there was a lot of risk. But luckily on June 6th, what a pivotal day for us. And it could have gone very differently. We had 3 healthy boys delivered, and everything went really great. So that was awesome. But then a scarier time was 2 weeks later when you got the call from Jarrett Cowden about moving to Pella. And boy, if triplets hadn't rocked my world, the thought of moving to the middle of Iowa was a real rocker. But getting to the theme of this video, you are the one who deserves the credit for all the moves that we made, and just for opening me and you up to change and the possibilities that could happen, all great things because of that change. So I give you a ton of credit for that. You know, we had au pairs. That was a really fun thing in our lives. We moved so many times and to new cities and made new friends and new houses. And I just appreciate your attitude about that, because I glommed onto that as well. And I think that's enriched our lives so very much. So I just appreciate you opening us up to that possibility of change and being, it's been a great aspect of our life, another cicada. So anyway, wanted to just say I love you and happy 60th. Looking forward to many more birthdays with you.
We were blessed to be the neighbors of the Dows, not once, but twice. When they were living in Chicago, we moved into our house in 1993, right next to them.
So the first thing that I remember, not the very first thing I remember about Jerry, but one of the first things I remember about Jerry was how long it took him to cut the lawn. And I don't just mean like it took him an hour to cut the lawn, sometimes it took all weekend. So we figured out that Jerry just loves to nap and is an expert napper. And so Carrie would say, oh, the lawnmower is just out in the middle of the lawn right now. And turns out Jerry was taking a nap, and sometimes he would finish the lawn that same day, and sometimes it would take him all weekend to do it.
And my favorite story of Jerry is when it was Thanksgiving Day, and they had smoked some turkey in their DIY smoker that he had made with his dad. And they really wanted to come over and give us some smoked turkey as leftovers. And like we didn't have enough leftovers after Thanksgiving. Right. And what they really wanted to do is come over and show us a picture of their ultrasound. And they were expecting triplets. And so Sarah was crying, and we even shed a tear or two, but we were excited to experience the triplets being born next door to us.
Sitting at this very counter that we're sitting at, although not the same one, but the same location in our house.
Hey Jerry, happy 60th. Jim Reynolds here from our Burnett days. I think you were 3 or 4 years ahead of me, so you were sort of a senior to our freshman class as we came in. And of course, you were one of those salt of the earth, kind of geeky, and super funny people that were the core of Burnett and made it special. And you and your cohort kind of showed us youngsters the way. Now we were acquaintances, not yet close friends, and that made it all the more remarkable when you reached out to me when I was having a rough time and said, Jim, let's go to lunch. I didn't know what to expect of that, but I certainly didn't expect you to share your own story of going through some rough times. The upshot of which was you telling me, Jim, it's gonna be okay. That was super meaningful to me at a time when I was a little confused and feeling pretty alone. And pretty amazing that you would do that for someone you hardly knew like me, but of course, that's just who you are. Thank you, my friend. I'll remember it forever. Then we went on to get to know each other better, and that was great fun. And it's been fun to watch you and Sarah raise that incredible family. And I love that we still keep in touch from time to time. I hope we'll get to cross paths again soon. Until then, happy birthday. Have a great celebration with all those you love, and we'll look forward to seeing you. Take care, buddy. Bye-bye.
Hi, Jerry Dow. It's your old friend, Carrie Radovich from your Leo Burnett days. So, Jerry, I think you and I met shortly after you arrived at Burnett. So what is that, like 89, 90, something like that. So we've known each other a very long time. And while this may not be the funniest story I have about you, it is one that has stuck with me all of these years, so I thought I would tell it. It is about how you approached expenses and finances. So shortly after we met, you were telling me about wanting to cut back on expenses, and you itemized your Starbucks addiction as a huge problem for your expenses, and that you were going to stop spending money on it because you had created a spreadsheet and you realized that you were spending like tons of money every month on it. And I remember thinking, like, how much money am I really spending on Starbucks? I think this guy's kind of crazy. But I went back to my office and I started to think about it, and I started to keep track. And lo and behold, my Starbucks habit was costing me a fortune. So I quit it cold turkey as you had inspired me to do. And so what's funny about that is that conversation and that process has stuck with me to this day, because when I'm thinking about silly places I spend money that I could just stop, I think of you and that Starbucks conversation, and you inspire me over and over again to cut silly expenses out of my budget. So 30 years later, lest you think you're not having an impact on people, Jerry Dow, you still are. So I want to thank you for that and your continued reminders in my brain when those things come up. And I want to say happy 60th birthday. I think it's fab that Sarah and the boys are doing this. And I hope hearing from all these friends brings you so much joy, because you deserve it. And one last request, my friend. Please save me a seat in the Over 60s Club, because I will be joining you in December. Happy birthday.
You probably all know that Jerry's a car guy, but you may not know that Jerry bought me my first car as a college graduation gift. It was actually a joint gift from my brother Jerome and Sarah and Jerry. They each chipped in to get me a Honda Civic. I think it was an '86. And I'm pretty sure it was Jerry's idea, though. He found the car and thought of me, which was pretty generous of him, being a relative newlywed at that point. And I met him, I think, around the time of my high school graduation, so I hadn't known him too long. I don't know how many people would buy you a car after only knowing you a few years. But I drove it all over Chicago. It was actually pretty important for me to get my first job on the west side of Chicago at Providence St. Mel School. And I also drove it the summer of '95 when Chicago had that awful heat wave, which is when my friends started calling it the sweat box because it did not have air conditioning. But thanks, Jerry, for getting me my first set of wheels and for being such a generous, caring, and funny brother-in-law. And happy birthday.
Hey, Jerry Dow, happy birthday. This is Jarrett Cowden, and I've known you for a long time. I remember you in Perry, Oklahoma. I knew your dad. And then you went off to OSU and studied marketing, and I knew you briefly through that part of your lifetime. And then I went to Vermeer in Iowa, and some of my best friends were management at the window company, and I suggested you might be a good candidate for a job that they had an opening for, and lo and behold, you went to work for Pella Windows and moved to Pella, and we sort of renewed our relationship. And Sarah was with you by that time, so and in fact Sarah worked with me for a while at Vermeer. And then later, when I started Two Rivers, I asked you to come and make a presentation on your experience with 9/11 with United, and you did that. And so we've kind of been back and forth as far as knowing each other and interacting. So then I lost track of you, and recently got this email address asking for me to make you a birthday video. So my video story is actually not about Jerry Dow. It's about Sarah. Now, since I don't have a suitable Jerry Dow story, I thought a Sarah story might be a good alternative. So my story about Sarah is that after you moved to Pella, Iowa, you had a beautiful home on the golf course. And one day Sarah was at home and a golf ball came crashing through one of your Pella windows. Now, I may not have this story exactly right because it's been a while. So if I embellish it, you can always issue corrections. So my recollection is that Sarah looked out the window and this guy was dropping another ball and getting ready to hit. And so not preparing to come up to the house and make any kind of response to his accident. So Sarah in my recollection, with blood in her eye, went out onto the golf course and chased this poor guy down. And I wouldn't have wanted to be in his shoes. But she was able to then, I think, secure his credentials and arrange for payment for the damage. So that's my story. And again, happy birthday. I hear it's a big one, and I wish you many, many more. Bye-bye.
Hello, Jerry Dow, Randy and Mary Ellen from State College, Pennsylvania. I want to wish you the very, very happiest of 60th birthdays. We've found it's a very special birthday and one that we continue to celebrate. I'm on my 13th 60th birthday, and Mary Ellen just hit her 10th, so we know and we hope that you're going to enjoy yours for many, many years to come. You know, it seems like just yesterday since we recruited you and Sarah and one-year-old triplet boys to Pella, Iowa to join the window company out there. And there were certainly many, many highlights as we worked together to help build that business, but two stand out. And probably second on the list is the Emmy Award for advertising that you helped craft a winning television advertising in the first television Emmys that were ever presented. And the trip out there and the excitement of being among the very top brands in the U.S. was very, very special. But maybe the most telling and the most important legacy that you left not only at Pella Corporation but also the Pella community was when your triplet boys were taken to the Pella community pool and your au pair from, I think, Switzerland chose to change into her bathing suit in front of everyone right in the baby pool. I think there's probably some then fifth grade boys that are now closing in on their 40s who still cite that as probably the most meaningful thing as part of their growing up experience, and I would find that hard to argue.
Hi everybody, I'm Rita, I'm from Switzerland, and I met Jerry first time in 1997. I was Jerry's and Sarah's first au pair, and to start off with, I had been able to spend an incredibly brilliant year with you. And this was also because of you, Jerry. As we all know, you're very keen on old cars, and you you bought me an old Honda. I was very happy about it because I could move independently like that. You must also know we lived in Pella, Iowa at that time, so public transport was not really a big deal or a big thing there. But it came as it had to come one night. After leaving the pub and driving back home with my friends, we got caught by the police. And my friend, well, I got a little nervous, but my friend sitting next to me, she got very nervous because she took her drink. She didn't finish in the bar with her, so we had open alcohol in the car. But somehow she managed to hide it. And I did all the tests and we could finally drive on. Next day, of course, I told you. And all of a sudden, you, Jerry, got very serious and said to me, Rita, do you know what the 3 first things are you can do here in the States? And I said like, well, yes, killing someone, robbing a bank. And you said yes. And the 3rd worst thing is driving while you have open alcohol in the car. And I was like, what? Is it such a big deal? And I could tell from your face, yes, it is a big deal. You better take it serious and you better don't do it again. And after a few seconds, but it felt like hours for me, while I didn't know if I had to go home next day or whatever, you regained your funny nature and made jokes again, and you were playing with the kids again, with the 3 little stinky monkeys, as you lovely called them. And I made sure it will never ever happen again to me. But now, Jerry, to your 60th Thursday, my warmest congratulations to my best host father I could ever have had. And I hope you recognize my t-shirt, what is showing what a fan I am of you. And to the master of Swiss German words, Prost, Gesundheit and Kochikäschli.
My name is Nina and I met Jerry, Sarah and the boys in 1999 when I moved in with them in Pella, Iowa to stay as their au pair for a year. And it was the best host family anybody could wish for. It was a really great year. And I'm glad we stayed in touch since then and got to see each other a couple of times. And one time in 2016, I already had a family of my own. Sarah and Jerry came to visit me here in Germany. We stayed at this lake, went camping together. And my boys were 6 and 2 at the time. And one morning, Jerry took them for a little walk. And when they returned, the boys had ice cream in their hands and their mouth, obviously. And that is something that had never happened to them before, having ice cream before breakfast. And they still talk about that today and love Jerry for this opportunity. They really like that a lot. Happy birthday, Jerry.
Dear Jerry, happy birthday. It's a great day. And I remember when I first met you in Des Moines, Iowa in 2000. I am Diana and I was your third au pair, I think. And I was from Norway. So my first funny memory of you was in the living room in Iowa, in Pella, and I was watching your leg and I was saying to you, hey Jerry, why do you have a tattoo of a gun on your leg? And he said, no, Diana, this is Oklahoma State. And I was so confused because I didn't know the shape of the states in the United States at then. But we had so much memories of that year, and I still remember the year like one of my best time. And I wish you a really, really good birthday. 60 years is a great number, and it just tells you how much you have achieved in your life. I love you very much, and in Norway we would say gratulerer med dagen, Jerry. And I see you soon, I hope. Have a great day. Bye.
Hi, my name is Uta and I was the DAO au pair from August 2001 to August 2002. I believe I was number 5 and I came after Diana and before Janina. I live in Germany in the beautiful city of Heidelberg, and I'm currently sitting on our terrace, which we are redecorating. My husband and I got married 2 years ago in the beautiful south of France called Provence, and this is Provence style. So we're trying to bring this feeling also now in our home. And it's also been the last time that I saw the DAO family. I still appreciate you guys came. It was the best weekend and you really, really made it special. I always think very fondly of my year in Chicago, and sometimes I catch myself thinking it was a bit crazy to let a 19-year-old take care of your 3 boys. But then that's you. It's your faith and your trust, and you guys were just great guidance, and I have the uttermost respect for how you guys let us girls make this amazing experience. But let's not get too serious. Jerry, what I appreciate about you is you're always on good humor and how you take things with ease. This inspired me already 22 years ago, and as an example, I would like to read what you wrote on my American goodbye flag, because we girls always had flags like this and we had everyone sign it. And what you did, so here is you, there's a star, so what you wrote, and this is greetings from your past Jerry. This is me, so the little star. The world's best host dad. Tell everyone that the USA stinks and we want to take over the world. And make everyone drink Mountain Dew. I can also read what the boys wrote. Remember, they were 6 years old. So, Uta is cool. Grant. I love you. Uta is cool. Elliot. And Parker. I think he didn't think I was cool, so. Well, Jerry, this is to you. Happy birthday.
Hi, I'm Janina from Germany, and I met Jerry in 2002 when I came to the Dow family as one of their au pairs. And I have 3 sons, and whenever they come to me and want this, I have to think about Jerry because this was his favorite food back then. So happy birthday, Jerry, and stay as you are because you are pretty awesome.
Hey Jerry, Chris Ryan, Tampa, Florida, coming to you, ironically enough, from the Chicago Hilton. I'm up here on business, but just want to take a minute and wish you a very happy 60th birthday on behalf of the Ryan family. A lot of great memories of us trying to parent, along with just trying to make sense of what the boys were into, and as I would be prepared to throw my kids through a wall, you were always very patient. I admire that about you. In addition to all the other attributes that you have. But anyway, I just wanted to say happy birthday, and I know you'll be surrounded by lots of friends, lots of family, celebrating you, and justifiably so. You're a great dude. I miss you, and I will see you on down the road, my friend. Happy birthday.
We were talking about occasions, and the one that we both remembered was the time that Mom and Dad and Jim and Loretta had their 50th anniversary celebrations back to back, and of course Jim and Loretta had a polka mass as part of theirs, and with Becky and the Ivanhoe Dutchman doing the music, friends of mine from Cedar Rapids. And I'll let Mary take it from here.
Well, just the whole idea that there is such a thing called a polka mass, I didn't know what to expect. I don't think most of us did. And when Ivanhoe Dutchman were up there on the altar singing, Lamb of God, you take away the sins of the world, and I was having a really hard time keeping a straight face. I had to start thinking about other stuff. And I was sitting next to you, and you were not helpful at all in that regard. You kept making comments under your breath about, oh, the Protestants got nothing on the Catholics on that school bus to heaven, or something like that. But you really made it so I was afraid to look anybody in the eye because I was laughing so hard, or trying very hard not to.
I think she was stifling laughter.
I was doing my best. And then at our wedding, when you played my dog, if I remember, or no, Roger was the dog, you were the fairy godfather.
Oh yes.
Which you did really well at, and I hope you've been practicing your magic.
I think that was a role specially written for the Irish fairy godfather.
And you'll be having beige countertops as long as I'm your fairy godfather, or something like that was one of the lines that has stuck in my head, because you delivered it quite well and looked so lovely in your pointy hat.
And cigarette.
Cigarette, that's right.
I met Jerry in 2003 when I became the boys' au pair in Glen Ellen. It was the time when Jerry was part of United, and we celebrated his 40th birthday together. Jerry is a really great guy, which showed, for instance, on April Fool's Day, when I told him I had crashed one of his cars, and he totally kept his cool. Here's to Jerry. Stay the awesome dad, husband, and friend you are for the years to come. Happy birthday. Love, Lena.
Hey Jerry, happy 60th birthday from Steve and Dee Dee Soule. We have been so blessed to have you and Sarah in our lives, and we met you guys when our boys were at Montecasino, and it was so much fun when you lived in Tulsa, but we've extended that as lifelong friends to fun U2 concert in Chicago, and just lots of fun times when you're in Tulsa, and we just feel so blessed that we can call you our friend, and happy 60th birthday.
Cheers to 60. We miss you guys. Look forward to seeing you soon. Lots of great memories. You guys are awesome. Changed our lives coming to Tulsa. And look forward to some future trips. And maybe you could host us in Wrigley for another Dodger victory. Love you guys. See ya.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
I'm Parker Dow. I'm one of Jerry's triplet sons. When I think of stories about my dad and stories that are uniquely him, I think of a Saturday when we lived in Tulsa, Oklahoma. The three of us were probably, 10, 11, or 12 at the time. This is the early 2000s. And one Saturday morning, we went to an estate sale. I know it was fun for us just to walk around and peruse. But what I didn't realize is that we were really there for a car, specifically a white 1965 Porsche 356. And we found that once we got out to the garage, where my dad had been the entire time. So he was, walking all around it, asking lots of questions. The car was super dirty and had been sitting for quite a long time. And at the end of the morning, there was an auction for the car. So we're standing in the back, almost in the street at this point, kind of away from the actual garage itself. And the three of us are standing around, watching him as this car is being auctioned off and sold, and the price keeps going higher and higher, and he's just kind of standing there watching this happen. And at the end of the auction, we were like, "Oh, Dad, I'm sorry you missed the car. That's such a bummer." And he was like, "No, I won the car." But he had been standing there, very cool as a cucumber, bidding, just very nonchalantly with a head nod. So that was just hilarious that all three of us were around him, watching him, and couldn't even pick that up. So that was the start of quite a few different memories I have related to that car, whether it was even driving home. We're all jammed in the seats, and I think we had to start the car a few times just to get back to the house. Going to pick up new refurbished seats with my dad, way out in the middle of Missouri. By myself and him, so that was a super fun solo trip. And then bringing that car to a high school car show, and so that was always super fun that I got to drive it, and was proud to roll up in a 1965 Porsche. So that car has a lot of smaller stories attached to it, but overall it was very emblematic of lots of little adventures and the start of quite a few. Happy 60th, Dad. I love you.
Happy birthday, Jerry. We're back at the scene of the crime where it all started, our favorite neighborhood bar at the end of Montecasino Drive, sitting in our favorite booth, looking at, unfortunately, the empty bar stools you and Sarah used to sit on every Friday night, wishing you all were here, wishing we were celebrating with you.
It's hard to believe that it's been 18 years and how much time has gone by. We've enjoyed watching your boys grow up and the time we've been able to spend with you and Sarah the last 18 years here in Tulsa and in St. Louis.
And Florida.
And so here's happy birthday to you.
A toast to you, JD.
My name is Molly Collins, and I met Jerry in 2006, I believe, when I was babysitting the boys from time to time. I had just graduated college, I just moved back to Tulsa, which is my hometown, and just kind of finding my way as a young adult, and Jerry and Sarah just took me in. They quickly welcomed me into their home, and just made me feel like part of their family. I was really drawn to their warmth, and I just really loved how they ran their home and how they parented the boys. Even today, with 3 little kids of my own, I often think, what would Jerry and Sarah do? I know they would do the right thing, and I think about them a lot. They were very practical. They were extremely hospitable. They had an excellent work ethic. And I just admired everything that they were doing. I so looked up to them. They were incredible at building and maintaining friendships and community wherever they went. They were loads of fun, but they kept first things first. And I love that they instilled those priorities in the boys too. They always talked so openly with the boys and treated them like little adults. I can even remember them getting the boys involved in a local mayoral campaign, which I loved. When I met Jerry, I was at a really overwhelming season of my life, or what I felt was overwhelming at the time. It turns out I didn't really know what overwhelming was. And Jerry was an excellent mentor to me. He gave me lots of great advice, but what I remember the most is how Jerry made me feel. He empowered me, he challenged me, but mostly he encouraged me. And I will always be really grateful for the way that Jerry and Sarah have taken me in over the years and just mentored me. But most appreciate just their steadfast example in family and business and in their communities. My favorite memory of Jerry is dancing with him at my wedding. He and Sarah and the boys came to my wedding in Tulsa, which meant so much to me to have them there celebrating with me. And I just have a lot of fun memories with them on the dance floor that I'll always cherish. Jerry, I've always admired your adventurous spirit and your willingness to just go for it no matter what you're doing. And I hope that this next season of life is just full of more adventure and that you continue to chase your dreams. Happy, happy birthday, my friend.
Hello, Jerry. Terry Cordova here from Kansas City, reaching into your world to say hello and to wish you a very, very happy birthday. Well, you made it to 60. And here all along I thought, you were older than me. Well, darn it. Knowing you, 60 will be just another number. It'll be an opportunity for you to continue to influence others, make others smile, and I'm quite confident, live your life to its fullest. Your management team, AKA your family, asked me if I had any JDOW stories or words of affirmation of your being. Well, this is what I have. I have truly enjoyed knowing you over the years since I first met you and Sarah on that flight from Oklahoma to St. Louis when we were interviewing with you. It was a perfect fit for us. I mean, heck, you had put the green in National Rental Car, and you knew nothing about the cable industry. Why would we not think you'd be a great marketing leader for the cable industry, for us in particular? And it was fun watching you learn the business. All right, what is it again? Megahertz, megabits, gigabits, terabits, which one is it? And what's this whole byte versus bit thing? It was fun. I loved it. And then you went on to become the industry powerhouse that you are today. So thank you for letting me be part of a little JDOW history. May your world be blessed with happiness because you deserve it. May your year be filled with fishing and messing with cars and supporting your family and now building another company. You've always been a great friend and generally a great soul to be around. I've always enjoyed the breadth of your friendships across the country, which tells me that there are many, many others out there that feel about you like I feel about you. So happy birthday, JDOW. All my best to you. Take care, my friend.
Oh gosh, a Jerry Dow story. There's so many of those, but one of my favorites is Jerry took a group of us on a business trip to Perry, Oklahoma, Jerry's hometown. Population, 4,500. You might think, there's not that much to do or see in Perry, but gosh, when Jerry's taking you, there's plenty to do and see. When we first arrived in town, we were reminded that Perry High School, of which everyone in the community is so proud of, is 43-time state champion in wrestling. So, of course, we imagine Jerry surely must have wrestled. And so we asked Jerry about that. Unfortunately, he was not a wrestler in high school, but he was on the tennis team. And so what did we do? We went by the tennis courts that Jerry held his matches on. And from what Jerry described, boy, were some of those matches some pretty tough matches. From there, he took us by the gym, where he shared with us that he was a member of the Perry High School basketball team. He played for the Maroons. He really didn't get into his stats, his points per game or minutes played, etc. But we were happy just to see the gym, and we were excited that Jerry got to wear a warm-up suit and if nothing else, sit on the bench. But I'm sure he played quite a bit. From there, we went to the town square, the Perry Town Square, where they had the local radio station music blaring through the speakers out in the square. It was a beautiful day. It was a beautiful square. We made our way to the Comeback restaurant. You got to go to the Comeback if you go to Perry. And we took our seat at a nice table and sat there as everyone else in the restaurant stared at us. And they all knew who Jerry was, and Jerry had brought his business friends to town with him. So lots of fun there. After enjoying lunch, we headed over to the newspaper to meet with the editor. She, of course, wanted to meet with us. Had known Jerry for 50 years or more, and we enjoyed our visit with the editor of the Perry Daily Journal. I'm sure that's high on everyone's reading list. And not to be outdone, on our way out of town, Jerry took us by Ditch Witch World Headquarters. Wow, what an exciting trip it was. We loved being with Jerry. It certainly brought a smile to his face being in his hometown with some of his friends, and it was really neat to see. So Jerry, thanks for the memories of Perry. Happy birthday, my friend, and welcome to the club.
Happy birthday, Jerry! Oh my God! Thank you for being like the coolest friend, dude. All of our lives growing up, my children's lives growing up. And okay, so a couple fun stories. We were just talking about the first time we met you was when you moved in, and the girls were so excited that there were triplet boys across the street.
Very excited.
And a dad, and a really cool dad. We just knew that there was going to be a really cool dad too.
Yeah.
And Lily was at the store, and what'd you say?
I wanted to bring some baked good, and I think we brought football cookies over to introduce ourselves and to say welcome to the neighborhood.
But as we were walking up to the front porch, Audrey was carrying the plate, and she tripped and fell, and they spewed all over the ground. And then the boys came running out and ate them anyway. And all you guys were just all about fun with us and hanging out in the neighborhood with us and fire pit nights and swimming and s'mores. And oh my goodness, a couple months after we even met you, you're like, hey, we like you enough, you're going to go on a vacation with us to Cabo. So left kids at home, sorry. But we had a fun time, and we named the whales that would swim around our boat when we went whale watching one night, Jerry, where's Jerry? Sarah's laughing right now, holding the camera. Super fun. But I've appreciated every moment being your friend and having you in our lives. All of us, kids, adults, and God, you're freaking old. 60? Are you kidding me? That means we're getting close too.
So that means.
It means you guys are really getting old too.
Yeah, almost 25. Happy birthday!
Happy birthday, Jerry, from all the Rolfing girls.
Jerry, hello. How are you, man? Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, happy 60th.
Doctor.
Doctor?
Doctor.
Doctor. So it's been a long time. You know, we first met you and Sarah back when the boys were at Oak Hill when you moved to St. Louis.
Yeah, 2008.
That seems right. That's 16, 17 years ago, man.
Yeah.
That's a long time, and we're still friends over that time period. That says a lot.
Yeah, says a lot.
About us? No, probably about you Or
maybe about you
Sarah.
too, yeah.
Yeah, maybe Sarah. But we've had a lot of fun over the years, engaged with our boys, did a lot of stuff together over at Priory, the Fathers Club, lacrosse, Coach Dow. Very nice. And we've done some great trips together. And
A lot of great trips.
And
Asheville, Austin,
Colorado, host of others.
Bahamas. Yeah, which, as you've said, we want to go back. Not sure how to make our invitation on that one, but.
I mean, we've had some great parties.
A lot of great parties. Shrimp Oil, that was a good one. Croquet.
Croquet, you guys had that at your house too.
Yeah.
And the Newlywed Game. That was one of my favorites.
I think for everybody.
I still have the folder of all the iterations of questions that we worked on, and we dressed up.
Yeah, your sexy outfits. Yeah.
We dressed up.
Yeah, Jerry's got showing some skin on that one for sure.
Bob did our Bob Eubanks impersonations, and
laughed our way through it too.
Yes. Yeah. So I think we got a kick out of asking the question of the couples. Let's see, it was the Griesediks, Millsaps, Mahalskis, and who else? It was another.
Swaminathan?
No, the guards.
The guards, yeah, you're right, yeah.
So asking them, where was the most unique place that you've made whoopee? To hear that word is relatively, it's 60 euros. You don't say
relatively
that word.
tame.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, that was it. We've had some great memories with you, man.
We've had a lot of good years.
Yeah.
A lot of fun times, a lot of jokes. Still loving your one-liners. So
very witty man.
Yeah, it's one of our favorite things about you, Jerry Dow. Too many to mention. Some appropriate, some inappropriate. So
we hope you have a great day, and many more to celebrate with you.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
Have a happy 60th birthday, man. Love you.
Happy 60th birthday, Jerry. We love you.
Take care.
We met Sarah and Jerry when the triplets came to Oak Hill in 6th grade.
My funniest memory of Jerry is we were riding dirt bikes out at a track at my farm property, came around the corner, and Jerry was out cold on the ground, having dropped the bike. Happy birthday, buddy. Hope you're doing well.
Happy 60th, Jerry.
My name is Mark Mihaljevic. I've known Jerry Dow since I think around 2008, and worked for him for several years at Suddenlink. Everybody knows Jerry, knows that he is a car guy, knows a lot about cars and about repairing cars and fixing cars and working on cars. And there was a period of time that I owned an old Saab, and I decided that I was going to learn how to maintain that car myself, and Jerry would give me lots of advice on, how to fix things and how things work. And one time I had a problem with the thermostat, and Jerry explained to me all of the sort of the thermodynamics of how the thermostat works in cars, and how heat either gets dissipated through the radiator or through the heating system of the car, so that if a thermostat fails, you can cool the car somewhat by using the heater. Well, I had to replace my thermostat, and instead of using a normal thermostat, I decided to use what they call a fail-safe thermostat, which means if it fails, it actually cuts off the heat and continues to pump, it continues to use the radiator. Well, fast forward a few months, and Jerry and I were on our way home from a trip to Las Vegas in the winter. And I was giving him a ride home from the airport. Well, when we got home from Las Vegas, the temperatures in St. Louis had dropped to, I don't know, about 5 degrees. And of course, we, having come from Vegas on a business trip, were not prepared for that type of temperature. And when we got in my car to drive Jerry home from the airport, discovered that my fail-safe thermostat had indeed failed, and I had no heat in the car at all. And so Jerry and I drove home from the airport, or I took Jerry home, and then I went on home after that, and it was basically like being stuck in a freezer for 15, 20 minutes, however long it was. It was so cold and so miserable. And we were just shivering. My fingers could barely hold the steering wheel. I was so cold. One of the coldest times in my life, all because I tried to fix my car myself, and I tried to do something different than I probably should have done and just used a regular thermostat. But anyway, it is a great story, and one of many, many funny experiences I've had in my life with Jerry. So happy birthday, Jerry.
Hi, I'm David Hall. I've known Jerry since about, 2008, when he hired the Richards Group as his agency when he was CMO at Suddenlink. He also hired us when he was at Brinks Home Security, and he hired us when he was at Metronet. So Jerry, thank you for the hirings. The firings weren't so much fun, but thanks for the hirings. Before I share my story, though, I want to point out that the funniest stories I have about Jerry are ones that he tells himself. Specifically, the one about missing the fall of the Berlin Wall, and another one about a tennis opponent that he had, I think sometime in high school, but I'll leave those to Jerry. The story I want to tell is when we first worked together, we had these quarterly meetings where we would show the bigwigs, his bosses, Jerry Kent, Tom McMillan, Mary Medusky, we'd show them the work that we were going to run that quarter. And this was one of our very first meetings, so Jerry didn't know his bosses that well. And so what happened was we went all in on one idea. I think it was a price guarantee or something. All in, creative strategy, every slide was about this one idea. And we got in the meeting, and by the way, there's a little spoiler alert in that one idea wasn't completely approved all the way up the food chain. So we go into the meeting and we present like heck, and we do great, and the work is terrific. And Jerry Kent throughout the whole thing looked a little, a little angry maybe. Well, after we got done presenting, he said, well, I just want you to know we are never, ever going to do that. And I hope you brought something else today. So, of course, my life flashed in front of my eyes. I'm sure Jerry's did too. Being a former agency guy and me being an agency guy, we got the heck out of that room absolutely as fast as we could. We just backpedaled the heck out of there. But I have to tell you that he figured it out, and trust me when I say that Jerry knew how to sell work better than anyone I've ever seen up the food chain after that one disaster. And we had a series of great meetings for 8+ years. So, Jerry, happy birthday. About time you're finally 60, and I don't know if I've told you this before, but the wheels really don't come off until about 62. So, happy birthday, Jerry.
Hi, Jerry. Happy birthday. Sheila's usually not at a loss for words, but somehow when the video goes on, she can't think of a word to say. So I thought I'd start this and give her a moment to think about all the nice things she has to say about you. So anyway, Sheila?
Happy birthday, Jerry. I can't believe you're the big 6-0. I'd say it's a good start, and you're starting to catch up to us. We've met a lot of people, a lot of funny people in our lives, funny in many ways, and but you really take the cake. We love everything about you. I love having you at our dinner table. I love your thoughtful conversations that we have. I love that the kids have a bonus dad to ask all their automotive needs. They'll go to Jeff for medical care.
Good thing they don't go to you for medical care.
But seriously, Jerry, love everything about you. You just add a lot of sparkle to our lives. So thanks for everything. We love you.
Jerry, always great to see you, always great to chat with you. You're one of my best friends. You know, I have to say, you know, the avatar for you on my phone is a U-turn. Your nickname in my phone is Captain U-turn. Seems like whenever we're driving together, I say make a left turn here, and inevitably you turn right, and we have to make a U-turn. So now I've just gone to pointing, you know, this way, that way. It's much more effective than asking you to remember which is your right and left side. Anyway, happy birthday. Hope by 61 you figure that out.
We love you, Jerry.
Bye.
Hey, Jerry, happy birthday. Happy 60th. This is Jeffrey Mahalski. I met you in 2011, thanks to your great three sons, who I had the pleasure of getting to know for the last 15 years. I'm filming this from my car because it seems fitting, because every time I do talk to you in the last couple of years has been for some advice on saving money or doing repairs or getting a new car or whatever it happens to be. So it seemed fitting that I do this from the new car that you gave me the advice to get. So thank you. My favorite story about Jerry is the story that he always tells me every Thanksgiving, and I tell everyone I know about it because no one believes it every time I tell it. But the story about the baby's head that you stole off the fountain back in Oklahoma City. I know I wasn't there. I know I'll never go to that house, but man, that is probably one of the funniest stories I've ever heard in my entire life. And the fact that you still have that baby head just shows the commitment to the bit that you have. So every time I think of Jerry, I smile. Love you very much. Thank you for everything you've done for us. Again, happy birthday. And I look forward to seeing you soon.
Hey, Jerry. Happy birthday. 60 years. I can't believe you made it this far with all the things that you do that are crazy and would put everyone else at risk of just not making it to 50. Anyway, in my usual professorial manner, I'm going to show a slide deck of some of the things that we've enjoyed over the past years. So I hope you can see my slides. If not, I will try again. So, Jerry, 60 years. Maybe it's just the beginning. So we've had fun times visiting Park City, Utah with picnics, bike rides with the guards, baseball games in St. Louis, all fun times. But some of the best memories come from our trips to Alaska. Here we are, kind of, at the Homer Beach. You see the glaciers in the background. Now, obviously, fishing is one of our favorite hobbies, and you just seem to have a knack for catching fish in the most crazy places. Here we are catching a nice silver salmon out of a wading pool. Of course, this knack of yours, the skill, is genetic, and we see that Parker caught one of the biggest fish. He actually caught the biggest fish we ever had. And here, after that hard work, you see the two of you resting on the boat ride home. And it just seems, you know, here we have this 215-pound fish, but whenever Jerry's in the picture, it always seems much bigger. So Jerry, you know, you just got these amazing fishing skills. One of the other things we like to do in Alaska is visit Seldovia, a nice little fishing village on the other side of the Kachemak Bay. There we are able to do some raspberry picking. And I asked AI to do a little rendering of what it looks like when Jerry goes raspberry picking. And this is one of the renderings. It just seems they always want to put a beard on you. So one of the things that we learn when we're raspberry picking is that there are often these well-trodden paths. And we thought, wow, this is great. So many people are making it easy for us to pick berries. But then we realized that those weren't human paths and that bears were not too far behind. But one of my favorite stories of Alaska was when we were on the Seawolf with my friend Mark and Captain Phil. We had a great day of fishing, as often is the case. But when we got to the bay,
and we started to count the fish, we realized we had one too many fish in the hole. And so we had to figure out what to do. We couldn't just throw it overboard because we were already in the bay, and game wardens were not far behind. In fact, there was a game warden boat not far off because a whale had come into the harbor. And so what we had to do is take that fish, the smallest fish we could find, and jam it into a shopping bag. And then Jerry and I, you and I, we got onto the deck and just quickly walked away to make sure that no one would see us. Well, kind of hard to hide that fish. And another AI rendering of what I think it would have looked like. Again, this AI tool likes to make you look red-haired with a big burly beard. This may be a little more handsome view of what Jerry looks like. Again, fish in the bag, hard to hide. But anyway, Jerry, always fun. And next time we go to Alaska, I think you should sign up for the whale surfing activity. Definitely something in your wheelhouse. Anyway, happy 60th. Always great to be with you and be part of your life. Happy birthday.
Hi, Jerry. It's Dave and Kathy Tacklet.
Happy birthday. Happy 60th birthday, Jerry. We're excited to celebrate with you.
Thanks for being such a great person and a great friend. We met many, many years ago through our mutual friend, Tom Russell, and then found out we had so many other great friends. My favorite thing to do is wait in anticipation every year to see what kind of slippers you're gonna wear to the Kent's holiday party. I always remember the black ones with the white lace on the top. Those were my favorite.
And I love stories about you fixing dirt bikes and riding dirt bikes. And we had no idea you had this mechanical side to you, this hidden
Tinkering.
talent of yours. So we're looking forward to hearing many more fun stories about Jerry Dow, and looking forward to the next 60 years with you. And celebrating every step of the way.
In fact, we always refer to you, Jerry, as one of the most interesting men in the world. You're just a fascinating person. So, stay thirsty, my friend.
Stay thirsty, my friend. Happy birthday, Jerry. All right,
Happy birthday.
It's 8 o'clock in the morning. Wait. It's 8 o'clock in the morning, so we're gonna go put our beers away now. Stay thirsty, my friend.
Hey Dad, happy 60th. I think that one story is tough, and I think I'll just hit on a quick couple. One of the things that is unique about you and I love about you is your quick wit and your humor. You're very good with just quick on your feet things, and I think that there are a lot of really funny things that have made me laugh, especially with our family. Naming Uncle Matt, Uncle Butterpaws, teaching Carmen and Lucy how to say talk to the hand, and teaching other random friends, kids, and nieces and nephews how to do armpit farts. I think that there are just so many little things that are funny, but one that always just made me laugh was I was in the backyard helping Mom with measuring the distances between trees so she could string up lights, or she knew the length of the cables to cut from tree to tree to put the lights on there. And I would measure it, and then she would write it down. And she didn't write it down, she was just saying it. And so when you walked outside, she was saying 17, 24, 18, 17, 24, 18. And without missing a beat, you came in there and just started saying 13, 4, 12, 8, 19. And I could see Mom's face turn red as she was annoyed. And eventually she did lose count and we had to restart. But It's just little tiny things just all the time that make me laugh and always make me think about you. So happy birthday. I love you. Happy 60th.
So Jerry, when Paul and I are both thinking of something we wanted to share with you, we were talking, we had the exact same memory of when you retired. You went around and kind of toured the United States, stopping and talking to people that truly meant something to you, truly that had an impact on you and your life. And we both thought, oh my gosh, he is so authentic. I mean, we knew you were, but then when we heard you were doing that and you shared that with us, like, we just knew, Jerry, you've always been the real deal. And we just truly respect you and we enjoy your company so much. And you make Sarah so happy.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Hey, Uncle Jerry, happy birthday. Thank you for being such an amazing uncle. And I wanted to retell the story of how when I bought my car in Arizona, you were so helpful. Just helping me pick it out and going and see it, pulling the cash out, helping me get registered, changing the wiper blades and whatnot. So thank you for that. I'm very grateful for having such an amazing uncle. Happy birthday.
Over the years, my dad has gotten my mom a lot of wonderful Christmas and birthday presents. One year, he was out and walked into a shop and saw a painting that he absolutely had to have. He saw this painting and thought, this will be perfect to get Sarah for her birthday. So he talked to the artist. The artist didn't want to sell the painting, but my dad convinced him he absolutely wanted the painting and thought it would be perfect to give to my mom. So he brings the painting home and he shows it to my mom. And that is the story of how I got my first ever work of professional art. So thank you, Dad.
Hi, we're the Vogels. We're related to Jerry Dow, in-law and outlaw.
So Jerry came to visit, Jerry and Sarah and the boys came to visit us a number of years back in Oahu. And one of the things that we learned about Jerry was he had some very special skills in the area of chicken husbandry, which he demonstrated with our next door neighbor's chickens. Little did we know that word of his special skills spread throughout the islands. And eventually, to our surprise, this letter from the Office of Hawaiian Affairs, State of Hawaii, arrived just this week in the mail. And I'll read a little bit of it. This is a proclamation for Gerald Dow. In recognition of his demonstrated poultry skills, the Office of Hawaiian Affairs officially designated Gerald Jerry Dow has attained the status of Hawanawana Moa, or Chicken Whisperer, with all the rights and privileges of the award. So I know you have a lot of accomplishments in your life, Jerry, but this has probably got to be one of your proudest moments. Happy birthday from both of us.
Happy 60th birthday.
Yes. Welcome to the next decade of your life and joining the others who have gone before you.
Jerry Dow. We're asked to relate a story, a funny story that involves Jerry Dow. Jerry, frankly, is the beginner and passer-oner and carrier of most of the funny stories. And they're usually about other people, places, and things that I believe are probably imaginary. I don't think he grew up in Oklahoma, and I don't think he knew a dog that had paint sticks. But in any event, Jerry was also involved in some other funny stories that were involved that I'm aware of, and he participated in one that grew in size and stature over the months, and it was referred to generally as the search for the Holy Grail, or the Holy Grail as it was later dubbed by Jerry as the full meal. And Ann and Jerry, and to a much lesser extent me, were advised to go through, or were tasked with going through a house of an individual who had passed away. And we were searching the house for various trinkets and other things that were found throughout the house, but they included money found in just odd places, watches found again in odd places, and what we'll refer to for the sake of this expose, colorful art. And if you found in one day watches, colorful art, and money, Jerry said that we had a full meal. We got a full meal today, as opposed to a third of a meal or 2/3 of a meal. We had a full meal, and that was a big, big day. So at the end of the day, I would have the opportunity and the pleasure of being regaled with their stories about finding all or some of a full meal, and the wheres and the whens and the how muches that they found to make the full meal. And the full meal brought joy to everyone who was involved, and Jerry made some really great stories with that, and it was a lot of fun.
Hi, I'm Jerry's brother-in-law, Bruce Mills, from Newport Richey, Florida. I am married to Sarah's sister, Monica. About a year and a half ago, I rode my bicycle across the U.S. It took about 4 months, and on that adventure, I spent several nights at Sarah and Jerry's house. But I would like to say that also during the ride, we raised over $25,000 for the Lighthouse for the Blind, and that Sarah and Jerry were our biggest donors. So Jerry has always been very kind with his time, talent, and treasure. He is always there to give us sage advice on buying and selling cars, or internet service, security systems, cameras, speakers, you name it. He knows the stuff. He's also an expert at telling us about marketing, and he's always glad to show us around town. But something you may not know is that he is also a granary expert. His instant granary knowledge became evident when we spent the day riding on my trip. And here's Jerry the granary expert.